Hey,
Hi, we're back together again.
yes, back together again. I don't know if that song is either at the same time, but we are back.
Yes,
We are back.
last week we were in two different places
Mm-hmm.
and connecting over the distance, and today we are back together, and it feels good to be in the same room, rubbing elbows in the same studio, and right here
Mm-hmm.
with you.
Lights, camera, and action. So, how are you feeling today? You were coming in kind of looking, what did I say?
Desperate.
Desperate, desperate. Hey, before we move on with that, a personal response, why don't you tell us about something positive that's to do with the vision? I should have said that the first time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Our belief statement. Oh, first of all, we
Mm-hmm.
are taking the journey
Together,
together.
yes.
I am Zare.
And I'm Imar. I'll tell the people know me as Craig and you as Sharon.
Yes, and we are happy to be with you and been taking this journey for quite some time.
Mm-hmm. And for those
And
who've been watching it, they've been taking the journey for quite some time too. I hope. I
yes,
think. Maybe. Okay.
yes, journeying with us too.
Yes.
So our belief statement goes like this: we are going to relate.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what your mother, father, sister, brother, or even what Jesus says, we are going to relate. We get the idea that we can be friends, but we can't be lovers, or we can be lovers and we can't be friends. Therefore, we decide that we can marry our lovers, but not our friends.
Mm-hmm.
At taking the journey together, we feel the need to relate in a balanced way. By balanced, since we believe your best friend can be your best lover, we instill in people that they start taking the friendship and sharing on the one side and the lover and sexual compatibility on the other side, then work toward creating thriving relationships, or what are called healthy relationships. And that's where we are, that it takes both sides, the lover and the friendship first, in order to build a thriving, healthy relationship.
You know, I just thought about what I was doing. People can actually see me doing.
I know. I was thinking, what are you doing?
Okay, I got it done now. It's magic. I want to remember this computer is magic. Anyway, we're still here. See?
Yes.
I had to take us off the screen for a minute because I was doing something else.
He's being masterful.
I'm trying to be. So anyway, you want to go on and start us into what's going on with our show today.
Yes. We are still talking about Revelation. And as we showed before, do you want to show that? Or do you want to
Yes.
read it?
No, let me show that.
Okay.
So people can see. Go right ahead.
It says Revelation is not a flash, it's a slow burn in the soul. A truth unveiled, not when you ask, but when you're ready to hold the whole. It's a whisper from the unseen, a lesson wrapped in time, a mirror held before your spirit, saying, "This is yours, this is mine."
Yes, yes. Isn't that something that when I'm gonna make sure it puts up the mirror? Last time we couldn't even get our conversations going much without it being up there. Do you remember that? Hey,
I do.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. But I think we'll keep it up there as a good reminder that.
Yes,
Do we want it that big?
probably not.
No. So let me see if I can get it so it's not that big.
But anyway, as we go on,
Mm-hmm.
we look into what that revelation means.
What does that revelation
It
mean?
means that, revelations do not come immediately. They come in time. There's something that are gradually exposed to us most times.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
I can't seem to do it. So
my allergies are still affecting me.
yeah,
so
I can't do it. So
apologize.
we'll have to go like here. Go ahead.
Yes. So a lot of times people expect immediate change,
Mm-hmm.
and that immediate change does not necessarily uh, come with all of the components and all of the information and everything that goes into making it so, or making it understandable, or bringing it to the full fruition that it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of that revelation is patience. We need to be patient when we're looking for that revelation.
Exactly. Definitely. Yeah. I think also at the same time, when it comes to revelation, it has everything to do with bringing to the consciousness that which not necessarily at all didn't exist. Like one time, people did not believe that you could carry something in your hand and would not be fire, but you could still have a light coming out of
Yes.
it. And it could be that way for months, if not years. One time, people thought it was of the devil for it
Yeah,
happened.
exactly.
Actually, but
Yes.
yet, the light that we have now that's in the studio was something that basically, based scientifically, if you may want to say, atoms and all that good stuff, it always existed. It always had a
Yes.
capability.
It did.
We just found out and learned how to capture it the
Hmm.
way we wanted in the element called the light that everyone helped put
Right.
together. So there are things about relationships that have not, to most people, because of their belief systems, have thought to change or to move from. Like in this case, man is to be over or to be, what's the word I want to use when it comes to in a relationship towards a woman? What's the one word? Because usually it's the other way, but what?
Man is to be um, the leader, the lead of a woman.
Okay, lead over control totally of the woman.
Yes.
Usually goes
The
the other,
guide.
usually it's the other way around, that a woman is to submit to a man. And it's
Yes.
a religious kind of belief system that's pushed out. Anything else different from that, it's not too well believed.
Right.
Like taking the journey, when I came up with that observation and idea years and years ago, back when I was observing in the world, and in turn started this podcast years ago. I had 100,000 people following me. I should have kept that podcast. I probably have millions of people right now. But anyway, the idea many times when I was out in the community, especially Black community, that I had was something that was just something you came up with. And as a man, you came up with it because you just wanted women to do what you wanted them to do.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with balance whatsoever, what you were talking about. And I knew what they really were saying is that we have came up with either the idea of only the woman submits to the man, which is a religious belief system, or the other way around. Let's say outside of the traditional religious system of the Black community,
Right.
which is the woman leads the man.
Mhm.
Anything in between, which is what a balanced relationship talks about, it would be a no. So I knew when they spoke that or thought that in dealing with me bringing up, it was really, you just made that idea up on your own. And that's just something that you're, talking off on the back of your back end. And there is no way possible, trying to find something as a commercial here. No way possible, I'll find it as it gets everybody else. I mean, every one of us. Let's do this one. It's no way possible is anybody going to really follow that whatsoever, that idea. That's your thing, Craig, that you just came up with it. Now you got this woman coming along for the ride. No one else thinks about this idea of balanced, healthy relationships. That just does not exist whatsoever.
But they also think of it as pie in the sky and something that is not um, going to be true for anybody in this community. It's not going to be, it can't be had because it's never been had before.
Mm-hmm.
But just like what I just read about Revelation, everything takes time to be revealed.
Mm-hmm.
So when you understand or you
not
see,
necessarily does everything take time. Revelations for a lot of people that come to pass many times right on the spot.
Yeah.
And manifest themselves right on the spot. How you accept that
That's-
is a whole different story from that particular. And you're going down that route that in turn has to do with you because you take slower on time and stick sometimes in that realm that says, I don't want to change. I want to stay the same. And if something of a change does come, it makes me feel fearful. And when I get fearful because I don't want to change about something, my fear either takes me to be either very aggressive. What's the other two? You know the two. Other two.
Fight, flight, or freeze.
Like you were doing a few
Yes.
minutes ago, freezing.
Yeah. No.
Said
No.
something that kind of made you feel uncomfortable. But that's
Yeah,
what
you did.
happens because of even you know, because we were talking about before this time, that the idea of a balanced relationship was not something you never heard of. You didn't know much about until you met me, because you operated from your relationship experience side of the story, where it was mostly matriarchic, where the women for a couple of generations ran things, and the men were seen but not heard. Where I came from, same thing, because my mom was very much that. Up north was a default because the father was around, but no, my father was around. But all the men that I knew of, their belief system, at least up north, was that woman was supposed to submit to them. The idea of a balanced relationship was not something whatsoever they had a concept of or idea in any depths whatsoever. And if they did, they thought it would never be able to exist.
Right.
When I started to bring this up, when I started to present this, when I started to move that forward, it was something new for everybody to listen to. But most people agreed that if we could get there, that it would be something that would be so. You can always call us at 786-763-1324, and we'll help you out even that much more in your relationship, whether it's balanced or not, right?
Absolutely.
So today we want to talk about that you don't have to be fearful anymore.
Right.
You don't have to have the fight, flight, or freeze because it's something's uncomfortable, something new. And so I don't want to change. We are talking about walking in the solace, the newness of how now is the season for things to start blossoming, grow, and start a new season.
Right.
And so we want, through the idea of revelation, for your relationship to understand this is a revelation even for you, and even for me, to understand that a balanced relationship didn't just come through Mr. Craig Butts.
Right.
It didn't just come through even Mrs. I'm going to say Craig Butts, but Mrs. Butts, who comes along to speak about it, that this is an idea, this is a concept that we found out, and I found out through study, that's already been here.
Yes.
It's always existed. So when you hear it many times, and deep down in your chest, deep down in your heart, I'll be honest with you, you say to yourself, share it. Share it to your friends, share it to your enemies, share it to your parents, share it to your mates too right now. I just wanted to do it real quickly. You say deep down in your heart, boy, this sounds right. This sounds righteous. A balanced relationship, but I never saw it. I don't really believe it, and I don't believe it can happen.
Right. And one of the things that hampers things, and this is also me speaking from my experience, is that I had this idea, this belief system that in relationship you should share things, that you should discuss things, that you should support one another and laugh and have fun together and all of that. But sometimes it's difficult to, I had that concept, but I did not recognize it with the term balance.
And do you know why? Because your concept was like how I backed into it and came up with the base, which makes it more relevant to us.
Yeah.
Friendship.
Yeah.
Friendship.
Exactly.
That's where the basis
You're
that
right.
I came on my side of understanding. It came from the idea of observing friendship, seemed to present to us unconditional love. And how much more should we not in turn look at that relationship piece as being something we should bring in, stand on, marry, whatever we were talking in a long-term relationship.
Right.
That's what you're talking about, that we all experience. But we don't
we don't all experience it, but some of us would like to experience it.
Exactly.
We have the idea that is how a relationship should be. When you marry someone.
No, I don't think most people have that as experience. I think most people have not made that transition, that's even including you, who made that transition, that friendship that I had outside of my relationship is something that I can actually look forward to have in a marriage situation. Most of us in turn grew up, and that's including you, that statement that we make. We can be what?
Friends, but we can't be lovers.
We can be what?
Lovers, but
and can't be friends. That's how most of us have brought up, especially the African-American community, no doubt about it. We have no examples that show anything differently. And so because of that, it had made us hard to try to really believe. It's like right now you're giving me a hard time with it. Had time to move into something that we didn't believe, we haven't really seen, and therefore in turn when it is presented to it, we either run into fearfulness or we get in anger, like you're being frustrated right now over it, or in turn we become someone like me who says, I just don't quite believe that friendship is something that only belongs outside of a long-term intimate relationship and outside of marriage. It should be something, should be a way of life.
Yeah.
But again, we're not about trying to discuss this and debate this between you and me, because we're still rolling to move into it, including you, because it's not experience that you've had, not experience that I've had. This is something like in America, it is a what? Experiment that we're moving forth in. But we're finding out today that there have been many others in the world who have known this and have looked at it in different cultures. And that's what we want to talk about. So it doesn't become an ideology that's about just Craig and Sharon, Amar and Zaria, even though we want to help you. And we know we have helped with all of our past many good ideas and concepts that I did most of the study, and you come along and do the amplification. But we are now talking about that there's been a basis for it. The universe has already had it created. The universe have just used few people, even including me, and hopefully others who listen to it, and listen to it from their heart, that is, to then start believing it could be a manifestation in their lifetime, in their relationship, and have it come to pass. But I'm going to let you know, as we're going to look at today, welcome to Taking the Journey Together, because we're going to put it all together and show you that from the past, there were many other people who knew about this.
Right.
Are you ready for that?
I'm ready for that.
We're going to find out. We're going to definitely find out. Go ahead.
So, what we're starting today, what we're going to do is,
okay, come on, get it out.
It's those allergies. They have my throat just as scratchy as they can, it can be. But that's okay. We keep it moving.
Yeah, we're going to definitely keep it moving. I know I am.
Absolutely. This week we're going to be diving into a cornerstone of healthy, thriving partnerships, a balance in relationships. And this balance is more than splitting tasks, and responsibilities. You take care of the kids, and I'll take care of, the homework, and you take care of the yard, and I'll take care of the dinner, and, things like that. It's about mutual respect, which is something that is lacking in a lot of relationships. Sometimes it's because of discomfort or unsettling
cultural identity that's been set up.
Yes.
I'll give you again the relationship, because we talked about this before we got on today. Remember?
Yes.
It was how I have been in the midst of a whole bunch of very intelligent, college degrees, very much single entrepreneur minded women between 25 and 45. And I was there at some kind of get together that was going on. And the sister who I was dating, her whole family were teachers, by the way. In fact, her mom was one of the first teachers in the Kansas City, Kansas area to become a teacher. And anyway, she sent me across the street to go do something. I think she purposely did it because she knew where I was. So she's like sent me into the female lion den. And so I go in there, and they remember me because who I was dating was her girlfriend. And they said, "Oh, it's you." So many words. And so they were talking to, sister things, mainly about men. And I picked it up real quickly. And I said something. They looked at me the same way you look at me now. The kind of inspection, Mr. Inspector, or that always watching me to what? To see if you as a black man are going to do something wrong.
No,
and so anyway, I'm just saying that's what I saw when I went in there. And so I started talking to them in so many words about, da, 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 da. And they cut me off and said, well, if you want respect, you want to give respect. I don't know why they even brought it up at the same time, but they said that. And I said, I kind of was set back when they said that to me, but it's going to make sense. And I said, well, hold on for a minute. Doesn't respect go both ways? And they stopped for a minute, and they looked at me for a minute and didn't say anything. And then when they finally came to, after I hit them with that, they kind of thought to themselves, or a couple of the sisters in there said, wow, you're right. Respect is both ways. And I think, and I know that taking the journey together, which is based on balanced relationship and friendship, has that understanding of the core. That respect is not just one way, it's both ways.
Right.
And we know in our community, not because that is our nature, but because how the outside community has treated us through racism, has treated us through separatism. we have been forced to feel like we're enemies.
Right.
We've been forced to feel like you're not like us. You're not like me.
Yeah.
And therefore we act just like it should be, but it shouldn't be.
Right.
It doesn't have to be. And we're going to find out today, and maybe in our next one, that historically it has not and was not set up to be. And that there's many other people and cultures who have looked at relationships in a different way, in a revolutionary way, outside of the box way, but always taught that way. And they have thought about taking that journey together, but in a way that's balanced. That's what we're going to find out.
Exactly. So it's about mutual respect, as I said, shared effort, and growing together to create. excuse me. Growing together to create something greater than either could achieve alone.
Wow.
And we've talked about that before.
What is that word?
Interdependence.
Interdependence, where you are able to create more with someone else than you do. Every day on a job, we're with a whole bunch of people underneath a particular boss or owner who's seen that come to pass and make him a billionaire and a millionaire. He understands that principle very well.
Yeah.
And many times you don't even see him
Right.
or her.
Right.
But you go along like the ants to make it happen.
Yeah.
But you won't even take that same principle in your own relationship.
Right.
And no wonder why some of us don't have anything. No wonder why we have nothing to build for our kids, nothing to build for the next generation, nothing to build for and within our own community.
Yes.
Because we're not trying to take the journey together and using that principle that has to do with
And
working
the sad
together.
thing is when we're in a relationship
Mhm.
and we are fighting against each other, that shared effort comes out to, I'm doing everything and you're doing nothing.
Mhm.
You know, why are you not holding up your end when I'm doing everything? And, you know, I do 70 things a day and you do one.
Mhm.
And that's an exaggeration, but you get the point that I'm making. And the idea and the attitudes are skewed. You know, it's not about, you know, comparing apples and oranges or comparing, and I say apples and oranges because the responsibilities that each person in a relationship does is not necessarily equally, can equally be looked at. Because of my skill set in one thing may be different from your skill set.
Yeah, we'll talk about what we talked about
Mhm.
before. What was
Yeah.
that? The C. The C word. Remember we talked about before as part of Revelation? No, not compatibility. I just did purpose.
No, I was expecting.
So what is it?
Now you got me all messed up because you said you threw a word in
I
there
did
that I was not
purposely.
even
Let's see
going
if you
for.
remember it. Come on.
No, we're wasting time. Go ahead, because I can't recall
Well,
it.
I won't bring it up until you make that connection. Then you know you'll bring it up.
Okay, that's fine. But
Because I can also say that there's that other side too that happens to not make that connection, which is you are to be seen but not to be heard.
Yeah.
That's been on both sides.
Yeah,
Because there's some places in some territory places up north, there is that saying that when it comes to a woman, I don't want her to be seen. Excuse me, I want her to be seen, but what? Not her.
Mhm.
And then we know there's some places down south, since I've been down there, I find out that a lot of times black women expect black men to be seen, but not to be heard
Right.
from that particular
Right.
one. So it's on both sides, but still,
And
that
those
doesn't bring balance.
behaviors
It's
that
learned
come through
exactly.
the generation.
Exactly. One is a cultural sham, if you ask me. The other one, culture, was to protect.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have to do that way anymore, but it was like that. So that mutual response and that connection that you were beginning to talk about that started with the C, but we'll get to it because we talked about that before.
Yeah.
And you're the one that always talks about See how I compliment her?
Yes.
See how I do? Now you don't know
Thank you.
how much she corrects me when I do not do the right editing skills when I'm actually writing, even though my AI, who I trained, does a good job of making sure it even outdoes her. But anyway, I helped you today, didn't I?
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. And editing is my skill set.
It
So,
is. It
It's
is.
not one of those things that I do maliciously. It's just something that
I wish I
have-
could believe that. But anyway.
I've done it all my life.
Mhm.
And part of that has
Time
to do
to
with
break it.
No, that's my
Time to
skill set.
break it in relation, because that's what we're talking about. There's some things that we are scared and afraid, relation wise and revolution wise, to change and not stay the same in that particular pattern. And this balanced relationship is all about that,
Right.
not to change.
Right.
Now, there's no doubt about it. We're trying to take compliments from one another and how that works with one another, which we usually don't even do in that balanced relationship, because we don't operate that way in the first place.
Right.
In interconnectivity talks about that, but there's also the other side, which we're going to go on. That has to do with intra connectivity, not inter, but intra connectivity,
Yes.
which is beyond just your gifts that are different that help one out and one another. That's everything to do with your feeling towards somebody, which is what we talked about last week, which was called what?
And why do you do this to me?
And because of the fact that I thought you being here, that you are already here to be there just for me, so you can understand that for us.
And I am.
No,
But
because you don't remember that, because it's not something that you keep with you. The last time we talked about was longing.
Yes.
Longing is the part that has to do with what? Not inter, but intra.
Yeah.
Okay, that has to do with the connection with your feelings, your thoughts, and your beliefs from the inside, not what you both physically do,
right,
that the other person can't do. And you put it together and you build a house for me and you.
Right.
We're talking about being able to have a peaceful house between me and you, because we both believe in expressing and acting upon being peaceful. And it goes to that old wise saying I've heard before, which is, do you want a relationship or do you want to be right? And many times in relationships, we find that somebody, I know brothers always say all the time, it's that sister all the time, who figures that they should always be right. They ain't want no relationship.
But then you get the other side of it.
Exactly.
He's always got to be right.
Exactly. That
it's
one.
His way or the highway.
You get that, and many brothers have heard it for a long time, especially if you grow up under a mama who's very strongly thinking she should be right and you should be wrong. Any way it goes, those two wrongs still don't make a balanced relationship, which is what we're referring to. It doesn't.
And that's one of the other things that we need to stop dwelling in and dwelling on. Is somebody's got to be right and somebody's got to be wrong, because there's more than one way to accomplish any task or any idea or any any desire. There's more than one way to do it. And with that said, and with that as an understanding, then you talk it out and you come to it. That's where communication comes in. You work on what's the best way for us to achieve whatever goal it is that we're striving for.
And you do that by learning more about how that can be done.
Yes.
Because it will not be culturally something that you already have written as your story.
Right.
And it'll be something that's new. Yes. And so that means, because it's new, many times we act afraid, or we either get angry, or we in turn frozen, or we run away. Yes. Well, we don't have to do that. A balanced relationship, as we're talking about, has been known across history and cultures. Yes. This idea of balance has illuminated what it means to build a strong relationship. And I have to say, in the Afro-American community, we're not comfortable with building strong communications. Right. Strong relationships. Even you and I argue many times on the phone, but over this. And we're still trying to operate as friends, because friends do that. Yeah. But friends get even that much more friendly with one another when they get to know each other much better, and they understand each other much better. That's all part of that good communication. And a balanced relationship is all about moving, discovering, and working in your relationship. Right. That's the way it becomes balanced.
Right. And being open to get to know your partner.
Exactly.
That's part of friendship too. You are open to get to know them. You may recognize their flaws and their strengths and all of that, but you need to also find out
where you should want to.
From.
You should want to.
Yes.
I mean,
you almost have to want to in order to accomplish it.
I usually say, you should need to want, and you should want to need.
Yeah.
I use this concept off of that: so is above, so is below. And I also use the concept from the idea of eternity. And they use the idea of eternity, and when they had the idea of eternity, they usually look at it as being an infinite loop that has seasons that come about in life. And they say eternity is the same thing. It's infinite loop. It's not just a straight line.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It has ebbs and flow, but it will go on forever and ever, but it also dies back on itself.
Mm-hmm.
So from that particular end, in our relationships, we know those things will happen.
Right.
We're about trying to grow and learn about each other as being friends. And friends go through ebbs and flows, right?
Right.
And we're going to find out, because of that depthness, there are so many, and has been so many other people, philosophies, that have already looked at this, have already seen that.
Yes.
Or using a biblical term, there's nothing new under the sun
Absolutely.
whatsoever. So it wasn't something I came up with. There's something you came up or you're trying to internally work on. Nothing. No, I mean, not at all. This is something that's always been there. Always been there.
You know what else has always been there?
What's that?
Not new under the sun. The need to take a break.
You are absolutely correct. I was almost getting ready to say the word I'm not supposed to say. Okay, so let's go there real quickly,
Yes.
and we shall be right at, wow. If I know where to go.
So trust us, believe us, we are going to take a break, and then we will be back.
You think so?
Stay with us.
Hey there. Are you ready to amplify your voice and embrace your passion? Tune in to Our Black Media Network, where community comes first and every story matters. We're here 24/7, delivering powerful content on everything from financial literacy to the latest in sports and mental health. We are unapologetically real, reflecting the heartbeat of our community with programs that inspire, empower, and drive change. Join us on all major media platforms to celebrate our unique voices and advocate for the change we want to see. With over 50K monthly viewers, our network is your go-to destination for authentic, engaging content. Be a part of the movement. Be a part of the change. Tune in to Our Black Media Network today and let your voice be heard.
Hello, world. We're here, serving Savannah, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Brooklyn, Houston, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and the world. The best music all the time. The greatest songs ever made, every time. Tune in to Hot 2100 Savannah and get a taste for your ears. Hot 2100 Savannah, serving Savannah and the world.
Savannah, are you looking for some of the best Southern soul food? Then check out Kim's Cafe at 714 MLK Boulevard. The food is so good, you'll think that your mother cooked it. Located in the heart of Savannah, Kim's has a menu that includes breakfast anytime, lunch when you need it, and dinner so you won't have to cook when you get home. They also cater all types of events and can host your reserved event at the restaurant. Come see what everyone has been raving about. Great food, great atmosphere, and a great time. Kim's Cafe, 714 MLK Boulevard in beautiful downtown Savannah.
Hello, how's you doing? That's my answer. We're back again.
Yes, we are. We are.
Mm-hmm.
We are back, and we are taking the journey together.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about revelation. And the revelation that we're talking about is building healthy, thriving partnerships, and also how, taking that concept and building on it to the extent of understanding that we have to have mutual respect. We have to understand that we are working on the same page and have an agreement as to what that is that we're working on. We also understand that we may be moving towards the same goal at different times, which means that we need, at different paces, not at different times, but at different rates of speed, where one person may get it very quickly and the other person may take a little bit longer. But at that point, you still need to keep those lines of communication open. You still need to maintain that mutual respect.
Mm-hmm.
You still need to make sure that you are on the same page as you are moving through this and moving with the understanding and the ideology that you can see the bigger picture. And that bigger picture is a balanced, thriving relationship. In spite of all the obstacles and whatnot that may be there, you still need to move within that and make sure that you are together.
Yes, and not do it not do it with fear either.
All
You
right?
do it the same way that at your
You
job
have
when
to
someone
do it in
refers
spite
you.
of fear.
Well, I would say that I like that because I know many people are learning something new at a job that they're fearful about because they get paid
Yeah.
or because someone told them what to do it. They're moving to it. More people
Or out of
will move
desperation,
in
yes.
fear and go past their limitations
Yes.
doing a job where they even thinking about doing a relationship.
Right.
But yet your relationship should be more important than just your job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because that is, at some point in time, you
Oops, that's me.
or move to another job.
Mhm.
But when it comes to your relationship,
Especially today,
yeah,
the jobs are not feeling loyal to you much, are they?
no.
No.
And when you feel that, you may feel that way towards your job, but in your relationship, you want it to last. You don't want to retire from your relationship, or you don't want to move on from your relationship. You want it to continue to grow, and
Mhm.
continue to be healthy, and continue that friendship. That once that friendship wanes,
Mhm.
everything starts to wane.
Nope. I'm messing with stuff in
Yes.
the work hall, but that's all right.
So,
That's all right.
but yeah, so where was I going? Okay.
I'm too busy
I know what I
concerned
was
with
about to
why I
say.
scared you when I turned on the side of
No,
the,
I
work
actually
hall
thought you were getting ready to say something else, and I
No.
stopped. So we're going to move on to
Mhm.
an understanding that across history and cultures, this idea of balance has been illuminated. It has illuminated what it means to build a strong relationship. It's not something that has just come up in one spot, or it's in one society or in one culture. Um, it's all across the board, across the world. Today, we're going to focus specifically on the wisdom of African traditions that it brings to the universal concept, but we're going to connect it with other philosophical, cultural, and modern perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
And so, one of the places that we need to begin
And
is
I'm
with
going to let
the-
you carry on, do this. I need to go pick up something real quick that's very important. So I know you'll be able to handle it. I'll be right back.
Okay. So one of the things that we need to do and understand is that when we explore balance in relationships, we need to understand that it has evolved from other ideas, from ideas that resonate within ancient philosophies, ancient religions and religious practices and African traditions and modern psychology. And all of these different little aspects, and I say little aspects is because that's how a lot of times we think of them, as little, because they're far away, because they're not something that are in our everyday lives that we can actually see as tangible concepts. These are things that
Never
are
been taught to
fleeting.
us whatsoever.
Exactly.
Because it's not a part of our cultural awareness.
Right.
Mom, Dad didn't teach me this. Society didn't say go this way. So
Right.
I've got no, awareness.
And
no
quite often, the only semblance of anything being taught is in the church, is in
Yeah.
the religious aspect of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have that religious aspect, then you don't really necessarily have a place that I call it a bouncing off spot,
Mm-hmm.
something that you can pull from. But we always have books. We always have things that we can look into, and we can, when we find ourselves with that longing of what comes next, or what is missing, or what do I need to do, we can do research. Some of us, of course, did not learn how to do research when we were in school, but we can still do it. And it starts by just walking into a bookstore, if nothing else. It starts by just Googling what's on your mind. Now we have Chat GPT. Go to that and give it a question of what's on your mind and see where it leads you.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that you can do along those lines, or go to a seminar that has to do with what you're talking about or what you're concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, we will be having a free workshop for relationships.
That's what I was actually looking for, because on the 16th to the 17th, we're going to be at a particular restaurant where we're going to take the first hour at 6:00 to be able to. Why are you looking like that?
The 16th and the 17th.
No, just the 16th. I think it is.
Oh,
Why?
well, we'll have to talk about it.
I don't know why, but anyway, you've been knowing about this. This is something to do with the radio station itself.
I know.
And the very station that we're on.
They're having a chat-a-thon or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. We're going to be
but
starting at 6:00.
I didn't know it was the 16th. I was thinking it was the 17th.
I think it's the 17th. Wherever is on that Saturday, it will be there.
Saturday is the 17th.
It's the 17th.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be on that 17th, of course. So yeah, we'll be very, very happy and want you to everybody to come, and who listens to our program to come, because we got something very exciting we're going to do. By the way, if you come that day in Richmond Hill, in Savannah, that is. I'm trying to. That was been doing. So keep on talking. I'm trying to find the flyer so I can put it up real quickly. Last time, that's what we were trying to do, and I'm trying to figure out why I can't find that flyer. But go ahead.
And and in addition to that, Taking the Journey Together is planning a free workshop that is going to deal with healthy, thriving relationships and how you get there, and some of the principles and things that get there. So we'll give you more information on when that is going to be coming up in the near future. We just have to get a few more details ironed out as far as what is a good date that is.
Well, when they come to this, they'll be able to know outside of we'll be advertising on social media too. But they'll know it's a free workshop, and that free workshop will definitely know there's some things you'll be able to see, understand, and know some things that you'll be able to talk to us about. But we'll talk more about it once they come out to the restaurant that we're going to represent the radio station. I'm surprised they don't have that up here for me to show, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it. Let me look. Go ahead, keep talking. I'm see if I look. They might have it in there.
Those are some of the things that you can do in order to start alleviating some of your questions, some of your ideas, some of your curiosities, if you have not been introduced before. But even if you have been introduced before and you want to know more, you can still do that. But starting today, we are going to give you a little bit of a background. And we're going to start with sort of a cross-cultural foundation for balanced and in healthy relationships.
Meaning we're going to be giving you the other cultures who basically have believed, have for centuries talked about, and try to practice balanced relationships. So you could know that it's not new.
Right.
You're not trying to do this alone. It might be something to do with maybe you're catching up with the rest of the world for years that's really been practicing it. And it could be us good people out there who look like us. It could be that we are following a cultural way of folks who don't look like us being part of a Western concept. And that should have been a key flag from there. That was just wrong. What do you think about that, by the way, Freeball?
I understand that, and I for me, it comes back to a lot of the miseducation that we have been forced into over centuries, not just decades, and it's nothing new. The disconnect that we have has been coming about for centuries. We have been given enough negative or faulty information for us to have a hodgepodge of what is and is not acceptable, rather than um, finding out where we need to go with this. Um, that miseducation, a lot of us think that it is in, just our history, but part of that history is in how we relate to one another.
Yes.
What the expectations are when we are relating.
And
So
we talked about that too before you go on, and we talked about that how can I say it? We did, as Black folks out of slavery, especially going into what period of time that you seem to be so well of remembering, because we were talking about it before.
From enslavement into Reconstruction, which was a something that was hoped. It started off with hope that would be sort of the equalizer, and it turned into such a success.
How did we act during those times, by the way?
Oh, we acted as one, because we came out of a situation where we understood we had to depend on each other in order to survive, in order to make it. That was one of those things that had been instilled in us, even though the idea was trying to get us away from that when our ancestors were placed on those ships, even though that was something that was supposed to be broken out of each person. From generation to generation, the way things were set up, we still had to depend on each other. We had to count on one another. And that's why
I guess we don't have to count on one another that much now, but not going down just that street which you're going down. We don't need to go down it that much. The point that we need to go down and staying within this realm is the fact that they were successful.
Yes.
They built communities. They built cities from Rosewood to what's the other city that I'm talking about? Is that Tulsa, and many more. Some that were even flooded.
Oh yeah.
People were there when they flooded and killed them.
Yeah, there were many that we don't hear a lot about.
Exactly. And the main thing that's important is that we don't think about that it had to be the relationships in that community that made them successful.
Right.
It wasn't first the jobs in the products that we were being able to trade and buy from one another.
Right.
It was built on the relationships. Right. And we don't talk much. We don't study much. We don't look at much. Who were those relationships? How did they operate between one another? I believe that they were operating a lot in balanced relationships. They may have used that religious idea that the man follows just the woman, maybe. But we know that also at the same time, we, on the other hand, in our relationships, still have the women the women lead in the relationships, because you see that a lot down south. So I feel that balance actually existed there, which is why they were successful in that. I'm just saying that the period of time when it came to all Black history, we were operating well when it comes to relationships. And then, of course, things happen. So it in turn tore us apart.
Absolutely. And that is, those are some of the things that we need to look at. How did we come from a point where we are connected to one another to the point that we understand that we are dependent upon one another in order to be successful? And notice I said dependent upon one another, not she's depending on him or he's depending on her. They're depending on each other.
Exactly. It shouldn't be from the standpoint of a job or I have to, in out of as before, because we came out of depression or oppression. So we had to really sync to one another, work with one another, because we're all being treated the same. Exactly. So this is the only person that I turn can understand what I was going through. So quite naturally, I'm going to relate to that person in a long-term relationship, so on and so forth. I don't believe that the successful cities that did exist, I think they were beyond that level.
Mhm.
I think they were leading because they wanted to. They wanted to see the success. They wanted to see the community grow. They wanted to see the children do better. They wanted to see them to do better in this culture, in this country, that they knew that they just 10 years ago were in that sharecropping, in that sharecropping on that enslaved field, working hard. And now they can do this on their own and enjoy the American dream, their own self.
And take the skills that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them built businesses based on skills that they had, as opposed to going looking for somebody that they had to work for. And don't get me wrong, there were people who, worked for other people in order to contribute. But you did what you needed to do for, and here's that word that we don't use often, for the collective.
Yes. Would that be part of the us thing?
Yes.
That would be part of the us thing. Let me bring this up that I was trying to get before so people can also know about it. I'll get it here pretty soon. I think I will. I think I can. Maybe. What? Oh, there it is. How's that? And we'll bring it to the stage. There it is. Right there. Put it up there all by itself. How's that?
Yes.
Bring it a little bit bigger. That's where we're going to be. When?
May 17th.
Mm-hmm.
The doors open at 5 and the show starts at 6. We will start our part at 6 o'clock.
Exactly. We're going to have a relationship court show. So we want you to bring your problems and your concerns to the door. It's going to be something special you're going to get to as a couple. And we're going to try to help you out with your problems in your relationships, being under the guise and, of course, the philosophies that have been here, as you're finding out, and we'll find out more when you come back again, for years, from whole different places, different people, so on and so forth. A balance in how it needs to be in your relationship. So we're going to hopefully hold court there, but we also are going to have people in the audience speak what they feel and what they think. Now, I got to keep it within a certain frame. We don't want anybody to get out of place from that end. And we don't want you to bring too much of your business, especially if you don't want to. But we want to make this a place where we can feel good about our relationships, but at the same time, that good would be, what can we do to make it even better?
Yes.
Because we need to do that in the Black community and understand that's all part of us getting better, walking together. And who would say that's a bad thing for what's going on right now? In how they feel about this, how people think about taking away our history, taking away the way we used to be, taking away that whole idea that things were bad. Well, if you want to do that, let's think about things that are good. Uplifting has to do with people that look like us. And that's what we're trying to do, to make sure we live a positive history and leave a positive history, starting with our relationships currently now, so it can go forward in the future. It's just Ubuntu principle. That's what it comes down to.
And one of the things that we have to understand, based on what you said just a minute ago.
That's right. But on your face, you don't want that one, do you?
It's quite all right.
How did it do that?
I have no idea.
Same here.
Yeah. But, we just need to make sure that we continue to grow and grow together. That's important. And in order to do that, we just have to understand the different types of relationships, balance in relationship. And for example,
we learn about this relationship.
Yeah, for example,
this one.
Yes, that's one that we all hear about, and we talk about it constantly. Yin and Yang, which is an ancient Chinese philosophy. And so we take that and we understand that it's the embodiment of complementary opposites working together in harmony. And sometimes, we have that understanding or that idea, and that's one of the things that people have harped on in the past, that opposites attract. Well, opposites only work when there is harmony involved. Otherwise, you're always pulling and pushing towards and against one another, and nothing's really getting accomplished.
I think the best word that we should put into it, because we did that before just last week that you forgot, is called, start with C. What is it? Is one we're both
complementary.
Yes, complementary to one another. Complementary people could have opposite ideas. And when you're trying to build, let's say, a box someone better have an idea of what's going to go in the box,
Mhm.
while the other person has the idea of how to get the box or build the box.
Exactly. And
Both
sometimes
come together.
what goes
it works.
in the box
Mhm.
will be a determining factor on how the box should be,
That too.
created.
That too.
Yeah.
So those opposite ideas, when you put them together, then they become a complement
Mhm.
because of the purpose and what you're going for
Right.
and what you're moving to.
Right.
That again is based on the principle of what? Intra
Connected.
and connectivity. You can do more
Mhm.
with somebody else than you can do by yourself. Every day we're in jobs that work with people that have the opposite beliefs. Some of them might even think of you being a Negro. I want to use the word and hate you to death. But yet every day they're still on the assembly line. They're still at the job. They're still at Walmart. They're still at whatever job you're working at, working with you next door and smiling in your face. You don't even know they may like you at all.
Right.
Vice versa. But you're still doing on that job something complement to one another to make the task and the purpose still come to pass. We need to think about even that much more in our relationships.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so we're going to slow down because we got more to talk about, but we'll do that next week. Again, we want to make sure that you come to this again. I'm going to show it up there. Want to make sure you're there on the 17th. So get yourself together to come there on the 17th. Where's it going to?
Next Saturday.
Yes, that's next Saturday. At what time?
At 5:00.
5 o'clock. And it's going to be the B. Nichols.
B. Nichols Bistro.
Yeah, we got something special we're going to pass out to people to at the same time. It becomes the most voice in a couple that's really comfortable with themselves. They're really showing principles of what? Taking the journey together.
Yes.
So you're going to have something special. But we're also going to hold court. So if you got problems, concerns, we're going to make sure that we help you out with them. And we're going to ask the crowd to kind of help us out too at the same time too. Because it's important to get input from the crowd, especially from the standpoint of we want to help you just as much as you want to be able to be helpful to your own selves.
Yeah.
So where we're going to be a little bit, be in other places, sir.
Well, you can find us on Taking the Journey Together on Instagram at Taking the J Together. The website is takingthejourney-together .com. Our email is takingthejourney together at gmail.com. On Facebook, we are we're TTJT Together. There's a lot of different ones.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and again, Taking the J Together on Instagram. If you're interested in having
I'll get it down for you. Any coaching.
Any
Yeah, we do a little
relationship
counseling
coaching.
too, but mostly
But
coaching.
it's coaching.
Get you to a direction so that you know, if you want a balanced relationship, we at least let you know where you need to go to balance relationship. We have questions that even help you out on finding what your problems are that keep you from going to balanced relationships. You don't know, and then we'll from there help you get there, right?
Help you work it out.
Yeah.
And you can contact us at takingthejourneytogether at gmail.com or call us at 786-763-1324. That's Taking the Journey Together at gmail.com.
Leave your name, please, and what you're calling for in connection to Taking the Journey Together. People have called now, have left no messages. Stop that. Or they have just called and just listened to see if the number went to Taking the Journey and just said something and then hung up. Don't do that, please. Please don't do that. Where else can they find us at?
On Saturday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m., you can find us on WRUU, where we are doing Taking the Journey Together on the radio. That's 107.5. Taking the Journey Together on WRUU 107.5.
Okay. Anything you want to say to end up, Mrs. Compliment?
Just make sure you keep in mind all the things that we have said and the places we're going to be, and make sure that you are constantly working on building and maintaining a healthy, thriving relationship. Just because you see your relationship as healthy and thriving does not mean that it does not need to be maintained. Yep. So keep working, keep practicing.
Yep. Amen. And I'll show you that one.
Ashe. Till next time.
best.